So I'm just going to share some of these questions, and we can have a conversation about it. So, and I apologize, I don't know who asked them. In the older days, teachers taught yoga as an overflow of the benefits they had received. Is it really supposed to be a career path? And I'm going to combine these two questions. I have a hard time understanding why some studios require me to be a member of Yoga Alliance in order to teach at their facility. I've invested substantial funds for multiple certs from top-notch programs. Does one really need to prove their competency? So I feel like these questions are actually combined, because one asks, should yoga be a career? And the other is about whether these standards really even matter. And I would love to hear from the panel. Yeah, anyone feel she's chewing? You want to, after your chocolate, will you give your thoughts?
Let me answer those in reverse order, because I think we go right from the specific to the general. I've got all this training, someone wants to hire me, but they're reluctant or refusing to do it unless they see those letters after my name that I got from giving money to the Alliance. That's exactly what the sort of situation I was thinking of when, in a 3-hour conversation with Richard Carpel when he took over the Alliance years ago, and he called all the people that had been vocal critics of the Alliance to his credit and really engaged in conversations that were meaningful. And he eventually had to agree with me that the fundamental business model of the Alliance was that it was monetizing people's laziness and stupidity. And by that I mean, if somebody who's looking to hire a yoga teacher is too lazy to actually engage in a relationship with them to find out who this person is as a human being, as someone that's had some training, as somebody who has some experience, and or they're too stupid to recognize competence when they see it, then the credential is the easy way out for them, and some otherwise worthy institutions actually fall into that trap. Anyone here ever teach for Equinox? No, Dana left, but you don't get to audition unless you have the I couldn't audition to teach at Equinox, even though the woman running group fitness was a good friend of mine. She said, sorry, And by the way, tell your friends not to mention they know that you know me, because it's not helping them in their auditions. So to go to the generals, is yoga meant to be a career?
I would love to hear from everyone on that.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be one.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the cultural context. Being a wandering sadhu in India who owns nothing but a begging bowl and a dhoti is a career, because other people have to feed you, right? So how do you define career? You have to put food in your mouth somehow.
I was asked this question a while back. Should yoga teachers make money? And my response was, and I apologize if anybody's a lover of this brand, was the CEO of Coca-Cola is making a ton of money on destroying our health. How come the people that are trying to help our health shouldn't get financial return and a well-being? The reality is most of us could not, as teachers, invest the amount of time and effort and energy in what we do in supporting people, yes, without the financial return, because all of that other time, our excess time, would have to be going towards something that would financially stabilize us. So should we make money? I mean, obviously I'm very charged about that. I don't think it's for everybody for yoga to be a business. I don't think everybody needs to. Some people enjoy their life path of doing a 9-to-5 job or whatever entrepreneurship they are doing, and yoga is literally a side project where they love to teach one class a week or do one benefit. I think that's great. And then for the rest of us that can't do that other thing because this is our skill set, or this is the thing that we are good at, and this is what we are passionate about, and we need to share this every moment of our life, then should we be financially rewarded? Obviously, my answer is yes.
Get Jeannie. Oh, yeah, sure. Everyone should, Jeannie and then Theo. Go ahead.
Jeannie, I'm sorry. You can go ahead. The mic goes in both directions.
I was thinking about that question as well. And I think that in capitalism, right, in the capitalistic culture, there was a time, a point in time in history where well-being meant community. Well-being wasn't just about, do I get enough kale? Or, it wasn't individual. Well-being meant the well-being of community, and community meant something different. And we're not there anymore. It would take a whole complete cultural mind shift for anything like that to happen in any kind of way. I would be in support of that kind of cultural mind shift, but I have to be for real. We're underneath a structure in a system that just would not, there's no sustainability in that way, so.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'll read some more of the questions, and then you guys can, if you want to go back to the old ones, you can too.
So I'm gonna try to not be too activated by this question, charged by this question. This feels a lot to me as a career educator. It feels very similar to the conversations around how educators of all disciplines are compensated or not compensated. And that brings me to the next topic of my heart rate getting elevated, which is in career paths or places of service where someone is taking care of another human being, whether it be taking care of children or taking care of the elderly or taking care of sick people, that those things are just supposed to come from the kindness of our hearts, and that there can't be any reciprocity. And I think when I think about the career path of yoga or showing up to hold space for another human being in some capacity, it's about the currency. It's about giving and receiving. It's about that being equitable. And I think that anytime we have a reactivity around paying a teacher, it is erasing a lot of the unseen labor, the invisible labor, and the intellectual property that goes into all of the things that we prepare to hold space for our students. And so that to me, I just feel like, ooh, I'm back teaching high school again, and someone saying, well, 50 grand a year is fine for teaching all day and then grading all night. It's really about maybe we create a structure where the folks that are contributing to the world and supporting people in healing paths are compensated for their gifts in an equitable way that other jobs are in the world.
I think it's important to say that this group of people up here, this is not a we versus you scenario here. That Andrew has brought us in to be representative of you all, and that this yoga council isn't like, from my perspective, how can we make money so that the yoga teachers don't? The purpose of this is so that you all have a better thriving career, and to set up a structure for that, that makes it possible. But it's also for not just the teachers, but for the students to have clarity in how they can find you. So it's all, a big circle to try to help everybody become more successful. And yes, there needs to be a company that does that, which means there needs to be income for the company itself. Otherwise, they wouldn't do the work. Same kind of thing. It keeps going round and round. So just wanted to make sure.
So just, I just want to read a couple more of the questions, and then we're doing some questions from the live stream first, and then I'll go back to the group here. So, and then Theo, I think you want to respond, because this is all related to yoga and money. So that's what we're all into right now, right? Yoga money. Other question is, what do you mean when you say teachers aren't making money? Because money is being funneled upward. This was a question. And that was, I think, a referral to the fact that the yoga therapists the amount of money yoga therapists are making is basically the same as any yoga teacher. Which isn't much. And then the question, will AYC be providing schools with free technology solutions to set up their programs? Yes, that's the whole point, but yes. And then how does the AY, do you want me to wait on that one?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
now,
a big one.
go ahead, talk about the money.
Okay, the money is important. And I'm gonna be, I do not expect anybody else here to do this, but I'm gonna be radically transparent with you. I've never earned more than about 20,000 a year, pounds, from yoga. And I have 3 jobs. I'm a writer, I'm an academic, and I'm a yoga teacher trainer. And anybody who knows anything about those 3 professions means that I'm poor 3 times over, right? And I managed to do what I do because, for really simple reasons, because I don't have children and I have a partner who earns slightly more than I do. That is the reality of this, right? But here is the reality of yoga teachers not earning money. The reality is, as a result, yoga teaching becomes a profession in which people burn out, and burn out often within 5 years, right? So we lose those people from the profession over and over again. It's a profession in which people from marginalized communities of various kinds cannot even afford to get in the door, right? Like, I'm not talking about yoga teachers being nice middle-class people on middle-class wages. What I want to stop is yoga teachers paying to teach yoga. That's the reality of the situation that we're in. So when we're talking about the money being funneled upwards, what's really important to realize is that when people talk about yoga being an $X billion a year industry, what they mean is the platforms, the real estate people, mind, body, online, all the rest of it, see you guys, the clothing companies, you guys are the product that they are selling. This is what's really important, right? You will see everything from yogurt to cooker hoods being sold with the image of yoga alongside it. And the people making those ads aren't yoga people. The people in those ads, bless them, are not yoga people. The people buying those cooker hoods and yogurts aren't yoga people. The people wearing the Lululemon pants aren't yoga people. The people selling Lululemon pants are yoga people, because Lululemon were on record as saying they won't hire yoga teachers in their stores because we don't move fast enough. They like people who are runners instead, right?
And they like skinny people.
And they like the skinny people, and they don't like people of color, and they like disabled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So there is an industry out there making bank and defining what yoga is, so that everybody, the general population, when they think of yoga, you know exactly what they're thinking of, right? And it's not people that look like the people in this room, right? So if we are not prepared to stand up for our right to be sustained and supported, it's not about making money, it's not about a career. If you want to make a career, that's absolutely fine. It's about being able to be sustained and supported to do the work that you need to do in the world, right? And we need to stand up for that, because every other person out there is making money from this right now. That's what I mean when I say the money is being funneled upwards. How much money is My Body Online making from yoga? How much money did Zoom make in the pandemic from yoga teachers? Right? That's what I mean. Sorry, I'm a little bit of an anti-capitalist. I'm a little bit of an anarchist.
You guys get activated here.
We love anarchists. We have an anarchist and a libertarian on the same council. And that's part of it.
That's our point.
Yeah, the idea is we need different thoughts and ideas, and we need to think of new ways to work together as a community from the bottom up. And I had really interesting conversations during the break. All of you can contribute your ideas. We're gonna be super open, and the door will be open. Like we're trying to do it today with sticky notes, but that's just the beginning. I will say that I have my dharma, for whatever reason. Like what I became known for, I guess, in yoga was helping yoga teachers make a living. I was lucky to, well, look, I never made a crazy, and I'm not gonna say my numbers right now. My wife wouldn't be okay with that, but I didn't make big money selling my yoga studios, but I learned a lot through all those processes. And I actually helped a lot of yoga studio owners though, and a lot of senior teachers make a lot of money. That's probably why I was able to get, someone said that I was a connector or whatever. It's because I always try to help people with, like, to me, the root chakra is like that your life is stable, that you have financial security.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, that's the thing that I feel called to help support. And I've done it in a lot of times like individualized, but now we're trying to systematize that. And I don't think that, especially with the current government situation, that there's a solution there, but I think all of us are constantly paying the world, like paying with our attention. So like literally, your eyes on a screen are valuable, that they're worth money, but you're not being given that money. And this is like the dark, like this is a real thing that there's only 2 other tech companies that I know there, and I'm sure there are others by the way, but that we're starting to ally with, like, so at the yoga festival, the Berkshire Yoga Festival, we met the creators of Light Phone, which is a phone designed to not have social media on it and to be used as a tool, not as a thing to consume your attention. And then also Daylight Computer. And so I do think that if we have a chance at like getting the world to change, we have to focus on where we have agency, which is in the yoga world. Anyone here, you're like yoga people. And then we have to say, in our world, what would be the new structure? What would be the new system? What would be the thing that would actually help, actually solve the problem? And if you haven't seen on our About Us page, our mission is support the livelihood of yoga teachers. That's number 1 thing we measure. Number 2, increase the transparency, quality, I forgot the 3rd word, of educational programs in yoga. That's what we're doing with the standards. And then number 3, make it really easy for people to find the yoga that's right for them. Matt said 1 billion times. And why that's a cycle is if we can do that, then we can create a space, a tool that isn't trying to sell people's ads and data, that's actually just getting them to do more yoga. If people do more yoga and you want to make a living doing yoga, then hopefully you will have more customers or students. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. So, we're in this to help yoga teachers make money. So, and I bow to anyone who does it not for the money. All right, here's another question that I would like the panel to share, and then I promise we'll get to. How does the AYC Code of Conduct ensure accountability from schools? As a Black woman and longtime teacher for decades, I experienced much harm because of yoga. It's something to students and teachers. Example, withholding of credentials following complaints of discrimination and disability. It's terrible. Will AYC handle these harmful issues differently than YA? If so, how? I'll caveat by saying, literally, that was this morning's, that took over our whole discussion. And because we don't have an answer yet, I would love for the panel to say what do they think and share their ideas of how we might deal with that kind of thing. And anyone who wants to take it.
I can frame it by saying the accountability issue in yoga is the biggest problem that yoga has as a whole, worldwide. No one has solved this problem yet.
Jill, solution.
Well, I wasn't there this morning, but I was teaching. Sister, I feel you wherever you are. And again, my introduction, how I described my journey with yoga, I was never in the space when I came to yoga studios that I didn't feel like, oh my God, do they like me? Do they not like me? Are they gonna accept me? Are they gonna fail me? Because I gave no fucks, and I didn't. So one thing and everybody doesn't have that. So I have to be the voice of the voiceless. And that's another reason why I chose to be on this board, because we don't have a solution yet, However, I know when those type of things or when those type of moments come up, you will have someone to hear you. You will have someone to see you. It will be talked about, it will be worked through and see if we can get a solution. I mean, I'm saying we don't have a solution yet, but it's not like it's gonna land on deaf ears. Does that make, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I mean, I'm not a therapist, but like, I feel that we collectively can support someone who doesn't feel some issues with being a person of color in yoga.
I think that's part of the reason that's definitely one of the reasons you were asked to be here. And so what Jill said is 100% true, that like this issue matters. That's why we picked up this question to answer. Some of the people that were here, Jill couldn't make that part of the discussion this morning, but for those that were here, do you want to share any of the things that we talked about, like the insurance idea or any, I don't know, or any thoughts that you have on it, anyone? Just so we're opening up the discussion to everyone, because we're not trying to have secrets, we're not trying to be in a smoky room.
Yeah, well, the insurance thing is interesting because it goes back to some of the work that I did, you were on the same committee, the standards review process, we were on the scope of practice committee. And I kind of went outside the box on a few things, and this was one of them. When you have a situation where someone feels like they've been harmed, okay, there's like, sometimes there's a criminal aspect to it, where someone's rights have been violated in a way that goes against certain laws that protect us from force or fraud or bodily injury by other
Discrimination.
people. Right. That should be the first line of defense if it's applicable, right? But it's not, okay, look, there's a built-in problem that we have, and it's in human nature, and I talk about this all the time, is that one of the things that makes us unsafe, and Theo alluded to this, it's a problem, and it's probably the biggest problem we have, is that we're teaching whatever we're teaching, okay, and after we're done, the people who really liked what we did are very happy to come up to us and tell us how much they enjoyed it. The people who didn't like it or felt that they were, in some way not seen or disagree with what we did, or they were touched in a way that they didn't like or whatever, they don't come up and say that usually. They leave and they don't come back, and we never get that feedback, right? And that's exactly the sort of feedback that we need to get if we're going to be safer and more effective people, and our environments are going to be safer, right? But it's a built-in thing with human nature, and it's not just yoga, it's anyone who's in front of a room that has some kind of authority, whether it's a teacher or a priest or a professor or whoever, right? And one of the ways that we've addressed this in my workshops is we have an online survey people can go to. They can fill it out anonymously, or they can give their contact info. And I say explicitly in every workshop, please, if we like the positive feedback, but we need the critical feedback. And if there's anything that we could have done better, or that we didn't like, or anything critical at all, please know, truly, honestly, I am open to hearing it. I don't like hearing it. It's the kind of feedback that makes your gut clench, but I know for a fact that we have vastly improved the safety and efficacy of the environments I teach, and because of some of that feedback we got, especially if it's consistent over the course of several events. It's like people are saying similar thing. Wow, that's a blind spot. We all have blind spots, right? So one of the things, because this is we can throw some technology at this, right?
We have some ideas about
Andrew was the one who tried to do the social credentialing bit with Yoga Alliance to close a feedback loop so that, there was an effective way that was hard to abuse, hopefully, where people could get feedback about what they were doing in class. We need to have some channel because look, if the police or the insurance company is where these issues are being addressed, that's a breakdown at the level of communication at the studio or teacher level.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, and so we need to somehow make it easier for people to feel safe delivering critical feedback. And so that's definitely a topic of discussion.
Yeah, and I think that that is possible through technology. And we already do have a feedback system when you complete training with someone. That we are currently not sharing with the schools yet, because we're figuring out how to anonymize and so that we don't, so that people can give as honest feedback as possible. But currently we do have some part of this built in, and we can talk, we have a lot of features we're gonna build, Erica. But so let's go to another question, unless someone.
Did you wanna get to this?
Yeah, did you wanna ask? You had a question here.
It was more of a comment around the money piece. My name is Ro. I'm a teacher here in New York. I'm Black and I'm trans, so that's rare when it comes to yoga. And so I think one thing that wasn't mentioned in regards to the conversation around money that feels really important is, of course I would love to make more money. I live in New York. But, and also, I think the important piece is who is not making money when it comes to yoga, and I'm not really talking about the people in this room. We are all benefiting from yoga in some way. Yoga is built on a system of erasure, eradication, extinction, violence, colonization, and there's a full system of, where are the South Asian folks in this room, for example? Where are the South Asian folks on this panel? When we're talking about where yoga is coming from, those voices feel important to me to have in the room and to be paid for the work. Having taught in teacher trainings for many years, there's so few South Asian folks teaching, period. There's more and more coming to trainings. But I think that it's a really interesting cycle that we're all in collectively, where we want to make money, but we're also not in a full acknowledgement of who's not making money in the system that we're in, and how does American Yoga Council actually do something about that, or actually talk about it as a part of the conversation, and not just, let's all make more money as yoga teachers. That's well and good, I would love that. And it feels like it's knitted to this deeper system of extraction, and would love to have more conversation about that.
Thank you, that was a really awesome comment / question, but I also like your classes. Does anyone wanna, I have thoughts, but I'll defer if anyone wants.
This is not the full advisory.
Oh yeah, so first of all, this is not the full council. Ishan Tigane, who's one of the leaders of the Himalayan Institute, who's currently in India. He was actually in our meetings virtually, but
But he's in India, he's not here.
actually, it's really late for him right now, or really early. I don't know what time it is for him right now.
It's the middle of the night.
Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. Greg is also from Himalayan Institute and came to, and this is just the beginning. And I would say that I don't know I don't have an answer. I do think that we are trying to think of things at a systemic level. You did talk about the association of that we're in this capitalist system that is extractive and has a history that is problematic. And I think the one, disruptive thing that we're trying to do is, if this succeeds, this is my little dream here. I don't know if this will happen or not, but I personally feel that horizontal social networks that are capitalized by ads and attention are the deepest root of the problem right now, and that we're all choosing to be on them. And they're some of us will say, oh, we have to be on them for our business. But what if for yoga, you didn't have to be on them for your business? What if you could be on this platform and it would be an example for the world of an industry trying to pull people out of that system? It's not gonna be perfect because we're also still operating in it. And I don't know if you heard earlier, but we are not a nonprofit, we're a public benefit corporation. There's a whole reason for that. But so that's my dream, is that could be maybe a way that other groups could also pull out of that system. And so anyway, I'd love to hear other ideas, and go ahead.
So, I'm aware of the irony of, obviously, white people answering this question, especially the British person.
Yeah.
But what I can do is I can repeat some of the things that South Asian friends have said to me about this issue. And I can do that from the perspective of someone, like, a year or two back, I co-wrote or co-edited a volume called The Yoga Teacher's Survival Guide. And we had a specific section in that book on race, and we invited 3 of our friends who are all kind of, South Asian origin, to write the chapters in that book. And point of order, I have never earned a penny from the sale of that book, precisely because we gave our entire advance to the people who wrote the chapters for us, right? So that was important. But I'm reminded of one of the writers in that book, Simran Upal, who's a dear friend of mine, who said, if you really want more South Asian yoga teachers, you have to pay yoga teachers properly, because otherwise their parents are going to be really fucking disappointed in them. It is that simple, right? So the solution, unfortunately, to this problem is sold capitalism, and that becomes problematic, right? So the problem, I think I would say a number of things. I think one is, obviously, we do need to expand the range of voices of all kinds that we involve in this conversation. 2 is that we have to be able to sit with the discomfort of not knowing the answers to some of these questions, like, because we're not going to solve colonialism either as yoga teachers, and it's not going to happen on the yoga mat. That also there's a diversity of perspectives and responses, because South Asian people are certainly not a monolith in any way, shape or form. And we have to keep continuing to have these conversations in a meaningful way, whilst keeping an eye on the very real reality of the people who are actually exploiting all of us within this system, I think. And if we can do that, then maybe we can get a little bit further towards answering that question.
So I just want to approach this from the competencies-based learning model, which, if I had a magic wand, folks who have grown up within the culture and the lived experience and learning through generations of a topic, that's part of, like, competency met, and I think there's just been so much gatekeeping with the 200 and the 500. I mean, personally speaking, I would not take a 500-hour training in lesbian Wiccanism because I grew up in that environment and I'm not paying for that. I can get that at the dinner table. So, where do I get a magic piece of paper that proves that, I can do ritual and ceremony on salad? I just feel like that is a huge barrier, and I get it. And a lot of the teachers that teach in my program, as far as Yoga Alliance, they can't carry the 300-hour, but I can carry it, and they can teach for me, and I can pay them really freaking well. And in the meantime, they're like, why would I jump through these hoops? This is not something that is new information for me, and I'm not going to pay for it. So it's my hope that this is part of what competency-based, this is the bright aspect of, here's a standard, can you meet the standard, how do you meet the standard, and we get to move forward with giving people those levels regardless of AEIOU after the last name.
I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah. What was your name?
Olivia.
Olivia. You mentioned something about not having a 500 hour level certification, therefore not teaching a teacher training program. Okay, this is a perfect example of unintended consequences when you have a top-down setting of standards, okay? Because that was one of the new things that came down as a result of the standards review project with Yoga Alliance, where, and it was well-intentioned in the sense that they wanted to up the level, because there had been complaints about, oh, these many hours aren't enough, you know, people aren't competent. Okay, fine. So if you're gonna teach a teacher training program, you yourself have to be at least at the 500-hour level, right? Sounds good in theory. In practice, it keeps people from leading teacher training programs, people who may be very competent and gifted teachers, and it especially affects negatively people in less advantaged situations who just don't have the money to pay for a 500-hour teacher training, right? But that's an example of a top-down situation where you're dictating and you're making a rule, and even though it may be well-intentioned, you're having some very serious negative consequences to the people who are most vulnerable in the system, who you should be trying to protect, not exclude, right?
Okay, cool. That's a great question. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple more questions, and how's everyone doing? Man, you've been here long. Some of you have been here since 2 o'clock. I feel like there's a lot of interest though, and I'm really appreciative of everyone here. All right, go ahead. Let's bring it up, and then we'll do one more. We'll go one there, and then I have one interesting here.
I've always asked myself these questions. Where do I fit in? And how do I make money doing what I love? And I still haven't found the right answer. I mean, I was very lucky in 2005 that I felt like I fit in when I found Leslie. And I hung around with him and studied and worked with him for 5 years. But eventually you have to leave home. So I'm still always asking, like, where do I fit in? And I've always felt like I was looking for the island of misfit toys, and like I got the wrong boat.
Yay!
I don't know. So, you know, so there's this question, and I was really excited to hear from the panel that one of your goals is to help the right people find the right teachers. And I'm wondering, what are the logistical things that you're planning to create that? Because I have been part of Yoga Alliance for, I don't know, over a decade, a long time. And I've never once had someone come to me and said, oh, I found you on Yoga Alliance on that website.
Yeah,
I've never
that's the
gotten a clue. So maybe they looked up my name and they found me on Yoga Alliance and said, oh, she's for real. I don't know, but like that kind of referral momentum would be much appreciated. So that's my first question. And then the second question was about guidance for yoga studios and for facilities that employ yoga teachers, because once again, I always felt like I didn't fit in. 2008, I just down the block from here at New York Sports Club, I remember a yoga tryout, and you probably know what I'm talking about, where you go to the room and there's like 20 people on a mat, and everyone teaches a segment of the sun salutation, and halfway through you're like, oh my God, again, another yoga. And then of course they got to me and I did the cat-cow. Thank you, Leslie. Right.
Did you get the gig?
I did not.
Oh.
So, like, and I understand you don't want to impose from the top down, but it feels like there's some education to be had for the facilities that employ yoga teachers, so they understand that we're not all cookie cutter and that we don't only need to or should be teaching us on meditation, that kind of thing.
So just this, okay, you wanna go, wait, anyone else feeling, how are you ladies? Anything?
I want to ask a question. How many people here have ever had a student come to them saying, oh, I found you on Yoga Alliance's website? Isn't that interesting?
Wait, how many people here are on the Yoga Alliance website? Okay, well, that narrows the.
That's about half the room.
It used to be.
Used to be, okay.
Yeah. I just think that's interesting.
Okay,
I
so.
wanna know who feels like the island of misfit toys though.
Yeah, I think that could be a good mascot name for American Yoga Council.
Olivia. And I'm going back, because it's like, I'm doing, and I don't know if you were here when I was sharing that, I'm doing my first yoga teacher training,
Oh, yes.
right? And it starts in November, and wow. And I know, right, son, she's crazy. And it wasn't the fact, I mean, I've been doing yoga for over 30 years. I don't have a solid, I didn't go to Yoga Alliance to get 500, I didn't, but I know the hours that I've been doing yoga is way over 500. And that's bananas, girl, do your teacher training, and let AYC get with you. You understand that is fact. And for the wonderful woman with the red shirt, the misfit, Edia, I'm a misfit too. I've been a misfit and I'm gonna die a misfit. So I'm sure that, it's just like AYC. Yes, that badges, come on, that's it. And I gotta go to you. We are diverse.
Come on.
I mean, my grandfather was half Asian and stuff like that. But like we're in, so like right now, give it a chance, because it's gonna be diverse, no doubt about it. And like Leslie said, it's other members who are here who, we're diverse.
Sure, yeah.
So this is a direct question. One of the things I didn't know till today, right, when we were looking at software and looking at things to come and all that kind of stuff that really lit me up. But so I'm the founder of a program that certifies others to go into, for example, rehabs and to go into treatment centers and to go into communities and bring in addiction recovery work, right? So you'll go 12-step recovery, right, that particular program. And so we keep a directory of all the people who have been through that program. And oftentimes, a treatment center will say, well, is there anybody in bumfuck Illinois, right, that has this training, because we want them to come to our facility and do this work, right? And what I found out today was that, right, through the programming on the website, if someone who goes through my training signs up to become a member in AYC, and if they have the badge that they've done this work, they get listed. And there's a map there. There's all that stuff. So we no longer have to keep that directory. We can take, all of that is done through this software. We don't have to keep the directory anymore. And that makes me very freaking happy, right? That this is a whole set of administration, it's a whole set of costs, it's a whole set of things that we don't have to do anymore, right? Just encouraging anyone who's taken our training to sign up free they don't even have to sign up for the paid service. Is that right?
Well.
Is that right? All right.
Well, they can go.
Don't get too happy.
No, don't get, well,
It's all about badges.
no, I mean, so one of the ways that we're trying to help solve this problem is the badge system. Erica talked about it earlier, like, please check out AmericanYogaCouncil.com. You can go to the standards page, look at all the badges. You can list what you feel qualified to teach in and why, and you can also make suggestions for other badges. So we're trying to always build into the software like ways of hearing from you. But the way it works is like anyone can join for free. That puts you on the map, right? However, if you have a credential, like your credential is you did the Yoga for 12-Step Recovery program and you did that work, and that's very interesting and helpful to anyone who is looking for that kind of teacher. In order to show that credential, you do have to be a paid member. That's the benefit of being a paid member, is that we will verify your credentials, but you pay to verify that one time, and you pay the fee that the school gets to decide on, because the money is going to go back, 40% is going to go back to the school. And then the benefit that you get after that is that whenever anyone is looking for someone who knows how to work with addiction, you're gonna pop up in the algorithm. That's how people can find you. So, yeah.
Okay. So I love everything you're saying, but it's that bit that you just said right there, I don't mean to point.
Yeah.
That I want the answer to is the people who are looking for us, how are you going to reach them? To
Yeah,
tell
great
us
question, great
that you
question.
find us?
Okay, I gotta tell one more story. So, when I was on the Yoga Alliance, I was on the board as a volunteer for a few years, and then I also worked as a yoga advancement officer. I guess my job was working on the standards review and going around the country and speaking to different yogis. Shoot, I'm losing my train of thought.
How does the public know about?
Oh, how are we gonna find out? Right. So I'm like, man, Yoga Alliance is making so much money. This is crazy. And I would say, my dream, like, why shouldn't we try to grow yoga? Like, why don't we do an ad at the Super Bowl? Or like, why don't we hire a cool, I'm serious, because let's get people, like let's get more men doing yoga. You know, like, that was something that I wanted my dad to do yoga. I want, like, you know, so, and it was always shot down, this kind of idea of like, I'm like, you know, now maybe they're gonna start doing that, but that's what we're setting 10% of our budget is that. That's that 10% give back fund. It's like, in my view, it's how do we grow yoga? So we're just building that in, you know, so that it's not like a if the leaders decide to whatever. What's that?
The lineage tree.
Oh yeah, you don't tell, I don't wanna tell that secret yet. Well, I don't wanna give away that's coming.
Use your imagination.
Okay, I'll just say this. I don't know if I wanna.
It's proprietary.
What I'm gonna, oh, okay, I'll just say this. How do people find you?
Scott's face.
Scott's dying over there on my business partner.
Please don't do that.
So what do people really look for when they're looking for a yoga teacher? Do they really look for, like, are you a 200-hour RYT? Maybe to get to teach at Equinox, but they look for the relationship that you have with someone that they know and trust. So our search filters, that's how we're building it. We've built it, actually. So you can search student of Nikki Myers. You can literally search, you know, for teacher of Nikki Myers. Oh, I want to know who she trained with. You know, you can, when the badges come out, the CE badges, which are just getting out, Theo's really amped on the badges, people will be able to search based on competency. Like, I'm looking for someone that really focuses on anatomy, or I want someone that's super bhakti, or I want, like, I'm gonna be traveling to a city, I wanna go bhakti, I don't wanna be, you know, it's like, what do you wanna find? So that's how we're building the system. And we think that user experience will be really good. And then it will take time because we need people to join, because the more people are on it, the faster it'll be helpful to people. So why we came to New York actually is I would love to see like a huge increase of just like one area. Like if we got, you know, a couple thousand people in New York to sign up, then it would be super useful for any New Yorker. And New Yorkers would suddenly be like, oh, this is like, it would literally grow virally in that way. So please help us.
Didn't you describe it as ancestry?
Okay, so one other thing is we do show your lineage, Scott. We have 5 minutes and we gotta end. So, all right, I wish we could, this is awesome. Your questions are so great. I can't believe your attention that you've all given me, and not just me, us. I think that we won't have time to respond to it. I'll stay after, but if you have more questions, come talk to me outside.
And you'll do them on the socials.
And we're gonna respond on socials, and this is like just the beginning. This is our coming out party. When you leave, please grab a gift bag. We have a little American Yoga Council swag. You know, and there's journals and made of recycled rubber and some stickers and some cool socks that are here, cute.
The socks are really fun.
The socks are fun. They were donated actually by a great company in the Berkshires where I live called Blue Cube. If you know them, you know them. You're gonna know them soon. And for those of you who are online, and anyone who, no merch for you, but if you do join before the end of the month, you'll get some extra bonuses that we didn't tell you, that we're not gonna tell you. It's a mystery, but trust me, Join any paid membership this month and you will be getting special bonus. It's still 50% off because it's in the beta. And please just, be a part of this. I don't know, Scott, everyone, Sonia, we got any last words? Thank you so much. Thank you.